All right, we will get started then. We're still missing two, but we'll cover that later if they don't show up in the next few minutes. They're both on their way, but who knows? So I will pass it off to Aisha, a member of the Judicial Board, and we'll start with Shrey.
Hello. Place your left hand right here. Left hand. Okay. And right hand in the air. Okay. Yes. Just repeat after me. Oh, yeah.
Guys, this is your inauguration. So yeah, let's welcome the new executive board.
I, Shreya,
Do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
I should justly
support and
support and
defend
defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as Vice President of DEI
as Vice President of DEI
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
VP of Campus Life first.
Place your left hand on here and right hand below.
I, Aditya,
Do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I justly support and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as Vice President of Campus Life
as Vice President of Campus Life
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I, Ishan,
I, Ishan,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I shall justly support and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as Vice President of Academic Affairs
as Vice President of Academic Affairs
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I, Ajay,
I, Ajay,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that
I shall justly support
I justly support
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as Vice President of Engagement
as Vice President of Engagement
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bye.
I, Naya,
I, Naya,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I shall justly support and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
and
faithfully execute my duties
faithfully execute my duties
as Finance Board Chair
as Finance Board Chair
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. I, Derek,
I, Derek,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I shall justly support and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as Executive Vice President
as Executive Vice President
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I, Rezwan,
I, Rezwan,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I shall justly support and defend
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and the bylaws
of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and faithfully execute my duties
and faithfully execute my duties
as President
as President
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you guys for your time.
I will pass it right off from there. To actually, we'll take a 5-minute break. Everybody should meet all the candidates that just got inaugurated, mingle a little bit with the senators, and then I'll be passing it off to Jacob for a Canadian bit. But just meet all the new people, and another round of applause for everybody that was inaugurated. We'll take about 5 minutes.
I have seen you say good. I cannot recognize you.
Yeah.
You said you won't be able to meet.
Yeah, I think
I said, oh, it's far from me. Okay, whatever. She's right. I think it's moderation. Everything works. I'm also clueless. I don't know where I have seen you. Like,
Vijay, right? But Vijay.
yeah. Oh yeah. Now I get it. I'm like, where have I seen it? His face looks so like someone in the YouTube. I'm like, YouTube?
No.
Oh,
Oh my God. That's thank you.
I'm not
That would be me.
Oh, thank we met. Even, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a really.
yeah, I remember.
I am not remembering her name, but she's Tamil. No, not you.
Shadan?
It's not like just saying like, because in reality, this is like.
Short hair.
Then I short hair.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, like
Ankita.
No, I don't know, but she was with you. Or,
Oh, I don't know, Pranati. Pranati, yeah. She asked the question, right? Oh, yeah, I know, she's fine.
oh, by the way, why did you come down during the election? You just said that thing, like I'm standing for the finance.
She was standing for the executive vice president.
Oh,
So I had not. I was like, it's hard for me to which I can step down and get this. Really, I mean, that's.
Yeah, you asked a very tough question on that day that posted my seat now.
ain't nothing. You know what? Actually, if you would have like from Chicago, I live on campus. Just if you did some.
Oh, yeah, I could have. But it was my first semester. I was like, yeah, he was also in first semester. So I was like, no.
You have the video, right? Wait. Yep.
I was more happy when I saw that I got a 3-digit mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I got like 183.
I am not aware about that words. Like how much did I get?
Well, I actually have those videos. I have that video of all. I want to see the video. I thought you were there.
I wasn't there because
I'm like, you know, I'm not very.
I was like, I don't want to win. That's why I was alone. Sudipta messaged me, like, hey guy, hello. What?
You were standing for.
You're part of that one. That'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
Like right now.
Probably the international speak.
It's 2:37.
I mean, I'm sure it's tough.
It's not like 9.
I didn't do anything to be honest. I just posted my poster on some random trying to start uploads. And that's it. Yeah. I'm trying to get that. What the crowd, Indian crowd is like, yeah. India, chalo. Maharashtra. You danced very well.
What's happening right here? Oh, you were there in the event.
It was there.
Yeah, his name is Fayaz. He's just around the corner.
You danced with like Sanket and I'm like, oh. Yeah, came that day, but only for like 15 minutes or that.
Was your rival?
Everyone started dancing.
Yeah. I actually dance semi-classical. Yeah, I would dance, but that time I was very exhausted by the SGA meetings in the morning. We had the SGA meeting, and also I was having some of the presentations. So that day I was a little exhausted. Yeah, because so far we have nothing like that. I mean, the first time, yeah. I mean, for the first time, it was actually, I didn't know that senator was in fall semester. Then we came that time, and it was like only 1 month, and we were not moving. That's why. Yeah. Exactly. I will talk
Okay,
to
great.
Zara
That's what I was.
for my vice president. But yeah. Let me just.
learned my lesson
Okay.
from this semester.
Yeah.
Not saying that
After those questions, they will
Okay. We're gonna get moving again. I'm gonna invite Nikhil up.
Hey, we're back. I'm not swearing one more person. We're back.
Yeah.
That's one.
Oh, was that you? Yeah. Okay, Sorry, sometimes I end with the name and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's her, and I was just like, I didn't look at that.
All right, guys, find your way back. We're gonna break off again in like 5 minutes, so like, you don't have to sit down for that long, but like, Rezwan, you're gonna swear in Nikhil, so come on down. Oh. Okay.
You wanna? Oh, yeah, can you come back here?
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah, and then left on the hair. Yeah. So I, Nikila, do hereby affirm
I, Nikhila, do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support and defend
that I should just support and defend
the Constitution and the bylaws of the Student Government Association
the Constitution and the bylaws of the student government
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of Illinois.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I want to fulfill my obligation
to my fellow students
to my fellow
and faithfully execute my duties as Vice President of Research
students as
to the best of my ability.
my best.
Congratulations.
So next up is Jacob. Another. What's your acronym? Gaza?
I mean, I don't actually call it that. It's more of a theming. Hi, everyone. I'm just presenting the Special Committee for International Student Affairs. About a year ago today, I presented on founding the Special Committee for Research Affairs. And I actually considered presenting this one because I think that this is actually more pressing than the Research Affairs one, but I presented it because I'm not an international student, so it wouldn't be suitable for me to chair this one, but the research one I did. But for the international one, this is basically a copy pasta from my Research Affairs from the Research Affairs one, if I can learn. Oh, yeah. I don't think this document was shared with everyone. I don't want to put anything. But anyways, to summarize it, and you can read it as it's on the screen right now, is that the chair would be who you are very familiar with, maybe, is Bolu, the current executive assistant, and the vice chair would be Aika, she goes by, and so they're listed out here. It's just a special committee, same as how the research committee used to be and how the public safety committee is. So, I mean, if you have any hesitancy for passing this, to speak to an international student about their interactions with the internet, or whatever office, I think the Office of Global Affairs. But I don't think that there should be any hesitancy to pass this. If there is, please bring it up in discussion. Since I'm no longer a VP, it's been signed by your current VP of Academic Affairs.
Give a quick description for anyone who what the main responsibilities that you want them to hold.
So I imagine this committee will start off by trying to I forget what it's called, like rapport with developing a relationship with the current office, because and just like getting familiar with what they're doing, who they are, what they are, because to me it's a black box, and to me that black box outputs, a negligible amount to the students, and so hopefully that will be a little bit illuminated. And then after it's illuminated, the chair and the vice chair, I'm sure, will either work with a program that they can or lobby to them. But it'll, for now, at its founding, in the next maybe week or at the beginning of the next semester, it'll literally just be meetings. You shouldn't expect any output from them in the beginning. But it's really just to address any international student absences. I explained it. Actually, give me one moment. I'm looking at my campaign from last year for VP Academic Affairs when I bring this up. Yes, Strategic Committee and new International Center. On February 24th, Russia invaded Ukraine. 35 days later, university sent an announcement to Ukrainian students about a program to apply for. The deadline for this program application was 10 days before the email or announcement was made. And so there was no follow-up communication, and therefore there was an opportunity for at least some demographic of students. And this is not an unusual occurrence. It was announced after the deadline had happened. And yeah, I mean, that's just one anecdote, but I think that's an anecdote that can be brought up and in some capacity lobbied for to be advanced. That's all.
And we'll move into a discussion period on this one. This can also be questioning as well, but we'll just have a general discussion period. So if anybody would like to lead that off, they can go ahead. Whatever. Okay. If that is all right with everybody, do I have a motion to move to previous question? Motion to move to second. And if you'd like to pass this today, there is the two read standing rule, but if there's no opposed to that, we can just pass it today. Is anybody opposed to just voting on this today?
Being that the document is currently being edited,
It's just an acronym change. It's something that I just figured out. It was SGA to S, whatever the new acronym
being
is.
that the document is still not, it is. But it wasn't. That's the issue.
We have one opposed. Is there any other? If not, it is overruled, and we will move to vote on it today. Okay. Motion moved to previous question. First and seconded over here. Any opposed? Okay. Bolu will release a voting form on that eventually. I don't know if it's made because the agenda was kind of thrown together last week. But with that, we're going to move on to some small group sessions. So does anybody, Rutam and Bolu, and then does anybody know who else is leading some of these other groups? I don't know if there's been any further discussion since the last meeting that this was brought up at. But first one, the one that I know for sure. Bob or Sadupta, has there been any progress on this group? Yeah. Okay. So if you would like to meet with this group, Sadupta's in the back corner. My group, just down at the bottom. Myself, Genevieve, and Shubham will be meeting somewhere over here. Joseph, which group are you a part of today?
I'll lead the role. Valid fault, but
This one.
I believe, I can't read it, but
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. So this group is going to be meeting back around Joseph. Who else do we have here? So kind of just break up Sadupta's group back here. Joseph Shimon is working on improving senator descriptions. Sadupta, what are you working on? Committee layout and functions. My group is working on graduation regalia for SGA members. Bolu and Rutam are working on commons issues. Andrew Rowland is working on methods for student org and SGA relations, and he's gonna be kind of in this central area here. So kind of break up where you'd like to go. Jacob, which one are you working on?
Is there any that doesn't have a lead?
Today? Yes.
If it's the selection of members, then
Yeah.
if it doesn't have a lead, I don't think it'll have enough interest today, so.
Okay.
I'll just go with the.
All right, break up. If you don't know where you're going, you can come down here and I can point you in a group that you would like to go to.
The cool people committee's right here. I can tell you, I'll send out like three. The interview.
It is our last.
Yep. And then you know the girl Kim.
Jenny, you with me?
That Instagram says.
You're with Bolu.
Let's go.
Let's with Andrew Rowland.
Yes, Andrew, Naya.
So Naya. Naya Harrison, you are front and center. Monique, you are also front and center. Some people.
But it looks.
Hey, do you remember Nita?
Issa ran against me.
So by the meantime.
No, she understood. But yeah, that's why can you give her a brief description of the executive secretary? But then you want to learn the executive secretary, you grab some food or you're free to leave whenever.
So, yeah, they don't have time right now, Cameron, but I can give you where.
Oh. How are you? After one day, maybe most first issue. Student orgs.
Yeah, well, we.
So I was talking about second.
That'll give you kind of the gist, but you were very well positioned to kind of finalize the notes, send out random emails, send out calendar invites. So, read it and read that, and then I will come back around to you. Where's Jennifer?
No, it costs me.
Which one are you joining? So I suggest, I mean, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
I suggest going up to Sedona. He's talking about kind of like SGA.
So and
So it should be a joint discussion between you.
Yeah.
I think that have is yours, but I know Reswan is trying to shove.
yeah.
You should talk.
Clear, thoughts. So I'm gonna show the person who really wants to
Yeah,
work
say
with.
say that.
Already asked him whether notes are coming. He said like it's project choice. So in like asking everyone's opinion. So I don't know.
Yeah, don't pin us against each other, but say what you just.
It's not necessary to do.
Say
In the
what
first
you.
meeting, you're trying to like
Yeah.
with the Dean of Students office and the Title IX office.
They're not really well known to a lot of students. I asked a lot of my students, and Bolu being one of them.
And other than that, I tried to report something before, and they couldn't do anything about it until I put my name on it. And I would have preferred not to. So.
That's still a limitation of.
What are you?
I'm not trying to hint at anything.
No, I'm not saying, I'm saying like, what's your, so you're saying like,
I'm just saying the system already exists.
For what? Which exactly kind of
For reporting incidents.
anonymously?
Yes.
No, it does not.
Even if like can't do anything if there isn't name. That's just one of the limitations of that system.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
that's their point, they're changing the system.
When a student goes and reports something, the office has been known to not do much about it. Does that make sense?
That's something that is then a legal issue because they are required to do stuff.
I think we're getting off the rails.
Yeah, we're trying to, is there something constructive you'd like to say, rather, something that,
We're trying to resolve the issue inside the campus and not go to a legal, like, go to the court or go to the law or something. Does that make sense?
something constructive that they can add to this presentation that would make it better, rather than just saying that kind of what they're doing already exists?
I understand that these are things that are wrong. I think you've done a very good job of like actually following through with these reports. And I think that's where we're trying to come from, in the sense that these things are here and they're actually gonna.
The system can exist and not be implemented well, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, they're not really effective, they say, per se. Nikhil, you had something to say?
Oh, yeah, no, you already said it for me. I was just gonna say, it's not just comments. I just personally don't think our campus is safe at all. I know that might be a blatant statement to make, but genuinely, you're not gonna believe the number of encounters I've had with creepy men while I've been at work. And I have gone through the Title IX office before, which has proven to be completely useless.
Yep.
So I don't think it's something that we can do. I think it's just something that admin doesn't take seriously.
So what we're trying to do right now is basically make them aware that you're not taking these things seriously. And we'll post solutions, but at the end of the day, it's the admin that has to do something about it. But the main goal of this is to, yes, make them aware that, yeah, we're having these problems and you're not doing anything about it. And it's not like the most smallest thing. Getting harassed is obviously not a good experience. And if most of the student body is going through this, there's something that the admin needs to do to resolve the issue. So yeah. Is there anything else that anyone would like to say? Yes, go ahead.
I didn't understand what Tessa wanted to say, but I got her point, and I think there is a valid justification in that. She wanted to say that a person who comes to Commons is not an IT student, and that person harasses a student and goes back. What happens in those cases? Who is responsible in like taking actions against these people?
People who are not,
Yeah.
people who work in Commons but aren't IIT students?
No. Maybe it's not. Yeah, anyone can come and eat in Commons, or maybe they can roam about in MTCC, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So if someone gets harassed at that place, who is the person the student will go to? It's not Title IX or something, right? So there is a bridge between the administration and the students.
Well, at some point, we have to realize that, like, we're not a police force, and if somebody comes in and harasses you, like the real world, it does become a legal issue.
If somebody is harassing you on campus, so like currently, you can always call public safety. Not that that helps, I don't know how good they are about responding to that, but we are a private campus, so that is an option. But yeah.
What Derek said. So my next thing was to go to public safety committee and like support this thing with public safety as well. So it's not just a different thing; it's the same thing.
Right.
Public safety should also come in between and like monitor this thing. So it should not be just people from the campus; it should be people outside the campus as well. So public safety.
So what you're trying to say is if someone who's not a student on IT but comes to you in the comments and still gets harassed, they should also be able to.
No, someone who's harassing, not the one.
Oh, I see. Okay, so if someone who's not part of IIT and comes and does something, it kind of becomes the campus versus that person. Does that make sense? It's not necessarily inside the campus.
It usually happens situations like that where you don't know how to get a hold of the person who might have harassed you, whenever you report that, let's say you report it to the Dean of Students Office or you take it to Virginia Foster, the Title IX person, they will like probably just try to put you in touch with whoever can help you. They themselves can't do anything about it. They'll probably put you like they'll probably give you resources to like go write a police complaint or something. But beyond that, I don't think our campus is even authorized to do anything about it.
We might check the cameras and try to find the person, but that's
That's the SOS, right? So we have to figure out.
right now we're trying to go for like inside the campus how students can be fixed with this. If someone else comes and does it, again, that's basically how it's gonna go, and that's nothing we can do about it. That makes sense? Does that answer your question? Okay.
All right.
Does anyone else have anything else to say or any questions, please? No? I guess not.
Thank you, Tom.
Very much.
Um,
Before I head off, this will be in the legislative comments on the Discord, so if you guys think of something else later on, you can always message me there or just message me directly and we'll get on. Thank you very much.
You throw it in the Discord?
Me?
Yeah, mine's like updating.
Fine, right now. I will.
I'll just bring it up. I'll do
Hey guys, I'm Andrew. I'm the executive secretary. So we were tasked with coming up with some problems and solutions to mutual benefit between SGA and student orgs. I think we can all agree that there has been a pretty large disconnect between the general student body and SGA. I mean, that was like pretty much the whole talking point of the elections. And with the new exec, and I just put this in the Discord, by the way, for anybody that wants to see it in legislative comments. We wanted to kind of hit the ground running with this new exec. So here are our problems. I'm gonna focus on our main problem and solution. Our main problem is there's a lack of representation from student organizations in SGA because the reputation of SGA has diminished to the point where student orgs do not deem it necessary to spend their time at SGA meetings. Like all they care about is, okay, finance board, get our money, move on, right? Because at this point, they don't need SGA. But we still can benefit student orgs more than they're being benefited now. And that's where we need to moving forward. Because at the end of the day, a student government is supposed to advocate for the students. Like, yes, we need to improve campus life. Yes, we need to improve all this stuff. But our main job is to provide a fostering environment for all the students on campus. And we don't do that ourselves. We do that through our extensions, which are the student organizations. It really should be finance board and SGA funneled down into all the student orgs, not the student orgs funnel up into just finance board. So our like proposed our possible solutions. Okay. Here's some possible solutions. Well, obviously we can encourage SGA like Senate meetings for finance board members, send senators to organizations themselves. The solution that I personally like the most, I don't know how you feel the same way. And Jacob brought this specific example, is incentivize student orgs to send a representative by withholding some of their past budget. So 10% of their past budget from finance board, or benefit, or instead of withholding, but have specific benefits that you get from attending SGA meetings in order to encourage student orgs to send one representative. It's not need to be every meeting, not need to be every week, but they need to have at least a presence within SGA. And we can't do this just by asking them politely because nobody takes it seriously. So we need to do something to get off the ground. Cause we don't have, what was I'm a freshman, so I don't remember what it was called. What was the, like, thing called that? Yeah, PSAC. I don't really know the history of that. I've had it explained to me by some people. I don't really know why that's gone. I feel like we should start moving in a direction where we get something like that back, something similar, maybe not exactly. 'Cause I don't know why it was disbanded. I don't know the intricacies, but I do feel like the point of a student government is to represent students and through student orgs. I saw you shaking your head. What was your
We
thoughts?
shouldn't be threatening student orgs with not getting their money.
I don't think
It's
I
not-
don't think it's an
but-
incentive.
It's not threat.
If an incentive would be a benefit, not. If you don't come, we're gonna punish you by taking 10%.
It's not a punishment, we're just bringing the baseline down and the other 10% is the incentive.
That's not how.
The SGA
That actually is exactly how it works.
It is a benefit because we are telling them, right?
It literally says withheld.
No. Oh.
So if, then the benefit could be, they get all the money that they were allocated by finance board. But maybe there's more money if they,
So that was the second thing I said, was we have proposed benefits like discounts for certain affiliations with SGA and proposed with like catering. What was the one you said?
I'll announce it later.
You said what?
I'll announce it later. I mean,
Okay.
like, but the idea of like, we used to have the Art Institute, but if the Art Institute isn't willing to give the university a benefit, at least they're, I had my hand raised, could I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Tessa, as much as I completely agree, like, when I was trying to figure out this out for the longest time. But there's no benefit that we can offer students that doesn't involve us really engaging with the community. Maybe like, we can offer things to them, but we need to reach out to like, places around Chicago that maybe we can offer students. Maybe we can offer them, a discounted meal plan or like, like free meal swipes. But we can't implement that right now. This is something we can implement. And it's also very normal for any governing body to give some minor thing like that. You have to submit tax returns or taxes. So I think this is a very minor thing to enforce that won't hugely impact any student org.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna touch on is like, you can add incentives, but the clubs are all operating perfectly fine with their budget. So if we just say, oh, we'll add this if you go, they're not gonna wanna go. They still have everything that they're working with now. We do have to be like, hey, we're enforcing something where you need to send a representative because we aren't communicating and nobody's benefiting. Like, student orgs are not getting their, like, as much as they could get. They're not getting like everything that they could have because there's not communication between student orgs. There's not communication between finance board and student orgs and finance board and SGA. So if we require this, and I'll get to you in a sec right after this. If we require this, the only way we can get it started is by changing what we're already giving. You got something?
Yeah, so what would SGA give? Like, why is this?
Why?
Yeah, why is it?
Okay, so the point of SGA, like SGA and finance board are supposed to work together. Like, they're supposed to be, chair of finance board is an SGA member. They are supposed to be intertwined working together. We are supposed to be advocates. Finance board is supposed to be advocate. Like, everybody's supposed to work together. How many of you are here right now representing a student org? Raise your hand. How many of you are elected to a position? And there goes everyone's hand. Like, everyone's hands stay up. None of them, how many of you are here solely to represent a student? Got two. That's how many student orgs are on campus. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like-
but like, I mean, so you said that this is important enough that because student orgs aren't getting everything from SGA that they could.
Yes.
What could they be getting that is
Okay,
important enough
so-
to help?
Students are complaining that SGA does not do anything, that student orgs are having trouble with finance board, getting finances approved. They don't understand the intricacies of the rules. Like, there's a lot of blooming student org, like, Sudipta and I can talk about, we were on boxing club together. We were both executives. It was a pain none of us really knew what we were doing. We couldn't really get much outreach from finance board to us. We reached out to SGA. We were both elected members to SGA. We still weren't able to have that communication. And we missed out on, I think, $3,000. And then once we figured out what the rules of finance board were after 6 months, we finally figured out how to budget correctly to get the money that we needed.
So to clarify, is the main thing student would be getting is finance board information?
Finance board information and representation, like in SGA, when it's going to increase the amount of discussion that we have over these bills that we're passing that affect the entire student body.
So can I try to? SGA doesn't have to offer anything tangible. The only tangible thing that it does offer is what is happening right now, this discussion. And so just offering that chance and enforcing that, because the student activity fund would not work if everybody didn't contribute to it. And so this is another thing. This is a thing that, projects can be done, legislation can be passed, and that will, if everybody contributes to it, can, properly, positively impact everybody. So enforcing the SAF, this is just another way of it. It's not contributing to money, it's everybody contributing ideas, and enforcing that everybody contributes.
Yeah, so I think I guess my thoughts are, I think the idea of like getting more finance board information is a great idea. I think something that's already happened, like the required executive board training things. But I don't really see, so I kind of see two things. One is finance board information is helpful, but then there's also just enforcing people or requiring people to come to SGA.
Yes.
But there's not, I don't really see it.
Can I answer this one?
I'll say one thing. Okay, I'll say two perspectives, okay? Last semester, the dean's office, they suddenly changed the rules, or the percentages of how people will get conference funding, right? Before it was a way lot more, and suddenly without even telling the SGA, they cut down into 35%. And then they did, in the beginning, they didn't want to pay anything for registration, and then just 35% for like traveling and lodging, right? So and then me and Moni, we were the ones who said no, like we have to give something out, and it took a long time to get that budget. If we have people from organizations, at least some of them, half of them, right? The biggest ones, SHIP, whatever, right? ACM, SAE. If they're here, they'll be part of those conversations before the school opens those policies, right? Before they like establish like, oh no one's getting money this year. Like, why would they not be involved? Then it comes too late in the middle of the semester, no one gets. That's one. The second thing with the SAF is we do not use up the SAF totally every single year. There's always rollover, right? So each year we see like these student orgs asking for something, and then there's some maybe 10-20% SF left. That's for the next year. So we basically do not like increase our capacity of like what those student orgs can do to more money, because like they think they can't get anything more. The school's not giving anything else because they're saying, oh, they're satisfied. But it's our job at the SGA when everyone's in the same room that, oh, last year we did this year we'll do more. Whatever they need to be produced. This is why we need them, because we alone don't know what these drugs need. There's two different perspectives that I can show you right now.
Right, but both of those are finance board. Those aren't.
They're not.
They're not.
They're not
No.
finance board.
So the SGA, so finance board makes the policies, but SGA and the finance board both tell administration that so it's like, I think like
what part of those is not a finance? It is an SGA.
It's to deal with the frustrations where people say that they don't feel like they're represented at the school. And but student orgs say like, oh, we're not represented through SGA doesn't care about us, but then they don't send anybody to represent them. So if we require them to, it deals with the complaints.
You know that
the student orgs are
Yes.
the student orgs are not gonna be able to join finance.
I do want Derek to speak.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about history. Previous Senate, like before this constitution bylaws was passed, they required members of each org who wanted a budget to sit on SGA for to get any budget.
That's what I'm
They
trying
would
to
get-
bring
they would
back.
get nothing. We're saying we're with 10% waiting for at least 30 years before we do now. You had to sit on SGA for at least 2 meetings to get any budget at all. And that was when SGA was probably one of the most productive states that it's been at this. It was actively these large organizations who were active on campus, coming to the meetings, voicing their opinion. Eventually to get a budget, yes, but also while they were there, talking with the people who are senators, talking with the student government officials. It creates a positive impact that affects all of the students on campus. And so like I think it was just 5 years ago that it changed. And Joel was telling me about this, but that's how it used to run, is that you were required to sit or you got nothing. And so I think that what Andrew's presenting is perfectly reasonable, and what he's saying worked because they did things like the Google transition. They used to have like their own server for emails here, and they transitioned it to Google, like University. The Bog renovation was during that time as well. They raised all the money separately. Those two big things, but that was when it was really like.
We're not requiring student orgs to send people here just to advocate for the student orgs. But if there's a problem, let's say, remember last semester when they weren't clear about commons hours changing for, was it winter or spring break? Winter break. And like, it just wasn't open. If we had student orgs send people and everybody in the American Chemical Society and everybody in like the Kappa sorority is like, holy crap, this sucks. Their representatives are going to say that. And if everybody's representatives are saying, we all think this, that's how many more voices we're bringing to administration with backing. Because at this point, we're all just a bunch of elected people. We come here to be in SGA. We come here just to represent who we were elected to represent, for the most part, not everybody. But SGA is supposed to represent not only just students, but the organizations that those students make up. We can't work, and this is why I believe I don't want to make a dig on like SGA, but this SGA has been incredibly ineffective. I'm a first year. It's been incredibly ineffective the entire year, and I have heard several student orgs talk about how dissatisfied they are with the fact that they don't feel like they have representation in the SGA. But it's the bystander effect. They're like, we want representation, but I don't want to go. He doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go. So nobody's going to go. So somebody has to go. And that's what we're trying to change with this. And I implemented a system like that. I was on the Maryland Association of Legislative Student Councils when I was in high school. And when I was a senior, I was a legislative liaison. I implemented this statewide with 17 other people. We tripled the amount of students in the organization and sent 4 representatives to our state government within the next year. The more people you have, the more change you're going to get. Because we all have issues we don't like, collectively. We all have issues that people bring to the table that you wouldn't even thought of. Like, I know myself as I'm a straight white able-bodied man. I have not had a problem in commons with sexual harassment. And I wouldn't have thought about it because of my personal biases. And I'm very glad that we had people here to bring that to the attention. Imagine if we had double the amount of people in here bringing bringing their thoughts and their ideas to the table. We would actually be a student government for once. We would actually function. And I'm trying to bring back the function because we're not just supposed to be elected representatives. We're more than that.
I do have one point. So I see a potential like loophole in this. So when you said 10% of budget withheld, so there are few orgs in IIT who have budgets higher than maybe 5,000, 4,000. What is 10% of 5,000 in that? So I'll say what it does is, so the orgs will have that budget. So 10% of those budget will be a major thing for them. So would be more encouraged to come and sit here. But the orgs who have a higher budget, they will not care and they will not send their students because
the orgs with the higher budget though have a lot more students and will be a lot more likely to have a willing member to come.
But that would like
this isn't a fixed solution. This is a proposal. This is something that if we actually move forward with, we would have to discuss. It would be something that we passed. But this is more just an idea of ignore the 10%. Just read that as financial incentive. That's all I'm really focusing on right now. But as the executive secretary, I'm going to be moving forward and trying to expand SGA's. Like, we're trying to give SGA a backbone with Derek and Bolu. That's kind of our goal here. I will be personally reaching out to all of the student orgs, asking them to appoint a representative to come to SGA meetings. If they do not, I will inform them that they are missing out on an opportunity to represent all of the students in their organization. I have a feeling if that email goes out, we will get a lot more people at these meetings, even without the financial incentive. But if it doesn't have a turnout, then that's when we'll discuss, making a financial change.
Sorry. You guys are conversation, but I want to get. Okay, Sudipta,
You're presenting.
you guys are all coming to the research banquet next week? Okay, it's black tie. See all that, we don't have a meeting, so I'm hoping everybody shows up.
I'll fix this to this slide because that's the most important thing. So, hey everyone, I am Sudipta and we have formed a potential issue with the committees. Why I say potential issues because many committees will not like it and they will say that it's not an issue. But we do see an issue with the committee meetings, the committee structure, and how all the committees function in a whole. So we have tried to put up a plan to identify those issues, and it's not a committee issue; it's an issue with the campus. So what is the SGA, Student Government Association? Where are the students? Where are the issues? We don't see any issues in like SGA anymore. We used to see so many issues. So where are those issues now? Where did the committees go? Where is the committee meetings held? Do we have any logs for that? There's no answer for anything. So this is probably a structure. It's not anything against any committees. It's the structure that if every committee abides by this structure, they would function properly. That is what we presume. So how would this structure be withheld? It is little complicated to understand at the beginning because we did have a meeting in center code and most of us were not didn't understand what it means. So on a simple level, it means identifying issues. So it will start from the next fall. So you all don't need. So this is the last Senate meeting. So you all don't need to do anything for the next couple of weeks. So what it will do is so every VPs will have their own senators of the group of senators. So what they will do is they would go to this committee meetings. So irrespective of when it's happening during the Senate, it's happening after the Senate. So you need to arrange a meeting, a Google Meet or a Zoom call, where you need to take all your senators in and need to discuss potential issues related to your committees. Yeah, you are welcome to discuss issues other than your committees, but you are encouraged to discuss issues in your committees. Identify those issues, report those issues to SGA. So SGA is on the top. So you all need to identify those issues and come to SGA and present the issues in front, like what I'm doing now. So after that is done, we have to, so the committees here, so every VPs will be sitting out here. So they will discuss which issue is prioritized, which issue they should, which issue they should prioritize more. So every committee will have certain level of hierarchy of issues which they would like to prioritize. But as a whole, SGA would have to come and identify maybe one or two issues per semester. So we are limiting to 2, 3. So committees can solve as many issues they want outside Senate, like as a whole. But in the Senate meetings, they would need to identify as a group maybe 2 or 3 potential issues per semester. So and they would need to give a resolution. It's not just writing out and telling to everyone. We all know the issues, but we don't know the plans. So if it's a campus life issue, if there is a commons food issue, suddenly the commons light. So a potential resident life issue is the Karman elevator breaks quite often. So who is taking care of it? The ORL is taking care of it, but who is monitoring those? Naeem is doing that. He's doing that for like a year now. But we need to do this in a very productive way. So we need to present a resolution in a form of doc, in a form of presentation or anything, and you need to log it out to SGA. Second is we would have a deliberation, a Senate meeting where every committees would come up and give their proposals. So it would happen every week. So we have doing this iteratively because we don't want the person or the committees to lose their issues. So if an issue is presented in the first day of the Senate meeting, and when they're asked what is the issue in the last day of the Senate meeting, and they have no clue what was the issue in the first meeting. So we don't want that to happen. So we do have to deliberate and we do have to iteratively log the issue. Then we have to form, so the committees have to form an action plan. So they need to write it out. How do you want to resolve this issue? It's not just like, okay, the Karman elevator broke. Okay, I would like to do this. It's not I would like to do it. You have to come up with a plan. You have to come up with a resolution. Like I've seen a lot of resolutions, but none of them, hardly anyone. I saw a resolution from Jacob for GPT-4, where it got passed, but where is it now? Did we get the subscriptions for it? It never happened, right? So there was this. So the issues never get resolved on a high level. It is never resolved. So you need to come up with such issues and such resolution that can happen. So that is your like discretion, like how you want. You have to come up with such issues that you can solve in the campus that is feasible enough. So don't come up. You can come up with an issue that you cannot solve under the legislation of a campus. You should come up with such an issue that you can solve. Then you need to tell out the plan to SGA. You need to tell it out in this meeting, and everyone here will understand your plan. They will read it out. They will understand what your plans are for the semester. Then the progress. This is the most important part where every committee should focus on. That is progress. That's what every committee is lacked. They didn't have any logs. They didn't have any reports. They didn't have anything to share their like committee meetings. SG doesn't know when the committee meetings are held, at what days, on what days, what is the agenda of the committee meetings. So nobody knows that. Next, the feedback. So SGA as a whole will come up and give feedbacks on the issues, and the committees will have to work. They can take the feedbacks, and they have the collective feedbacks from the students. So they need to go to students. It's not like just 30, 40 people out here giving feedbacks and it's fine. So they need to go out to the students. They need to talk because SGA is for the students, by the student, of the student. So they need to go and talk to the students and get feedbacks like how do we get. So it's a good way of, it's a good practice of getting different resolutions as well, because if you have an issue and your committee doesn't know how to solve that issue, if you talk to maybe 30 more people, you will have that solution. Maybe someone will come up with something. If you don't talk, you will never come up with a resolution. And the final part is report back to student body. So it's like, it's an iterative process. So if you see report back, track progress, and Senate deliberation, these are all the same points that we have identified. And we have put 3 times because that's the most important part that every committee should do. They should report back to SGA, and SGA should have a form or something that they should consider as a maybe a leaderboard kind of. We were proposing a leaderboard kind of a thing. So where every semester a committee or a group of committees will get maybe an award or something out of incentive so that they would function properly. And on the other hand, there was a consequence. There would be consequences where if a committee if a committee is on the bottom, I won't say bottom. So committee can be doing a lot of issue resolution and still they can be at the bottom, right? So it's quite possible, but SGA would identify those committees who have not come up with any resolutions throughout the semester, who have not functioned properly. And I think a first warning, and I think the second thing we should propose maybe dissolve of the committee or maybe the whole chair of the committee. So that would be a very big thing that might not be needed at this point of time. But following this structure, I think SGA will heal, will improve. That's it. Thank you.
Any comments or questions? You don't have to.
And how often are you going to be requiring the committee to report to the SBA?
I think weekly is very, very good. I think a weekly report is fine.
I agree. All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for that. Bolu, or Andrew will be sending out follow-up emails to each group, whether you present it or not, just because we want to continue this progress, even though it's the last meeting of the semester, continue some progress on this. So that will be coming probably later this week. And I know finals are around the corner, so we'll see which actually before the end of the week. We'll move on to some announcements. Apologize, I don't know how many times I left it. Any exec or senator have announcements? No? Maya, did you want to speak on this? Okay. You can stand there or come up here, whichever you want.
Hey guys, I'm back, and I have a poster this time. Uh, so this is an event that we're hosting this Sunday. I'm really excited to announce this. So this is our Earth Day cleanup that we're collaborating with, you guys on. I wanted to take some time to just acknowledge that it's happening. Really encourage all of you to attend. Patrick has kindly agreed to, acknowledge community service hours, write some community service letters. For anyone who participates, who, checks off, yes, I want to hear, and I want to get a letter saying that I completed some community service hours. And it's a great opportunity to give back to the community. We will be meeting at the Global Grounds on April 21st at 12 p.m. Since this is an off-campus event, we are cleaning up Dunbar Park and 31st Street Beach. We do require everybody to fill out the RSVP form because there is a liability waiver that everybody has to sign off on. If you don't sign off on the waiver, fortunately, you can't come with us. So that's just something that, Patrick and Dean Stets have, let us know. But the QR code for the RSVP form right there. If you have any questions, please let me know. Our email is up there. And you can ask Razwan, you can ask me, and our lovely partner organization, SEAS, is also working with us on this event. So once again, I highly encourage everybody to participate April 21st, 12 p.m. Supplies and snacks will be provided. Thank you guys.
Anything else for announcements, Jacob? Okay. Jacob?
Yeah. Bolo, I just DM'd you a link. Can you put that link in the speaker notes for the slides on open floor? In the speaker notes, just anywhere in the slideshow. Actually, you're fine, Willow. Actually, I Okay. I just want to announce two things. One, the Research Affairs Committee webpage is already updated. Woo, welcome, new people. And there's also a calendar on here. So the calendar has all the SCRA events. It's the end of the semester, and it's also a new committee, so we don't have too many things going on. But we're tabling tomorrow, and as you all know, the undergraduate research banquet is going on. And this is the calendar that has every research event, except it's still, in progress, but it has every seminar interested in it. So if you want to become a polymath, you can use this calendar and go to all of them. That's all for this, but there's a big, it's kind of a big announcement, I think, because I went to Rico Bene's today, and they told me that I've spent $3,600 this year, and in the past, overall for last year, they told me that I spent, I think it was $1,800, and anyways, I forget what the totals are, but there's a lot of money spent on this campus for Rico Bene's, and so I went to them. And so I asked them to sponsor us. And so, yes, they're now sponsoring us. And so now every student org gets 25% off Rico Bene's pizza. And so this is what I reference when I'm like, we need to connect with the community a bit more, because this is a community connection. I now know the owner of Rico Bene's, and so can whoever is involved in SGA as well. That's all.
All right, any other items for open floor at all? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Very nice. Thank you guys all for coming. This was our last meeting. I expect to see all of you at the research banquet next week.
Guys, the research banquet is next week. There's deans coming in. There's a lot of board of trustees people and alumni. Okay, so yeah, come in there, network. Make sure you're not. Yeah. Jacob has the link.
So many people, if you guys don't know, you want why would I?
The link to RSVP is on the calendar that I just showed on the research page.
No, I RSVP, that's not for me. I'm talking about you.